Del Boy Army, welcome to another video on the channel. Today, this is the second episode in a series where once a week I am looking at a different formation, tactic, different style way of playing on FIFA to try help you guys come up with different ways to play the game. Last episode, the first one of the series, we looked at the 4-2-2. That was quite a similar formation to the 4-4-2. We really liked that. If you want a really good attacking formation, the 4-2-2 was a very good one, and it had a lot of positives about it. Today's episode, we're looking at the false nine. That in FIFA is the 4-3-3 fifth variation. So in game, it looks like this. You can see it there. That's what it looks like in game. So it's got two wingers, a centre forward, a CDM, two centre mids, and a flat back four. That is basically the formation that prime Barcelona played, with Messi as the centre forward, David Villa, Pedro, Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, Alba, Dani Alves bombing forward. That was like one of the pinnacles of football. So I tried to recreate for this video a tactic and style of play that was similar to Barca's Tiki Taka possession attacking style of play. This video is going to be a case of, is it like the best tiki-taka possession formation? Is it viable? Does it work on FIFA 21? I've played 4 games at 2,500 skill rated div rivals. So I've built a tactic. I adjusted the tactic throughout the games. I'll show you highlights from each game. I'll talk about the positions and players you probably want in them. But you can see it's been tested at high Div 1 skill rating, pinnacle of FIFA really. Lots of very good players and teams at this. So it's not against bums or people who just aren't going to be testing the formation properly. It's against good players. This is the tactic I've come up with. This might not be, like, what I will say is, like, not every formation in this video is going to be the best meta formation. The 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-2 are probably going to be the staples of what people are going to recommend generally, but people have been asking for different ways of playing, so that's what I'm trying to come up with. We're going for 6 depth, press after possession loss. This was like under Pep, Barcelona's philosophy was as soon as they lose the ball, win it back quick. So we've gone for that, a high aggressive tempo pressing style. This series I will do different ones, so I'm going to have like a 5-back long ball part of the bus Atletico Madrid style at some point. I'm trying to replicate as well real football styles and see if they are viable and work in FIFA. Just trying to give you guys something different. Because it's not as attacking as some of the other formations, I've put more players in box. For the width as well, I've lowered it because when on the previous FIFAs historically, when the width was high, I just found it didn't work well at all. So I've lowered the width to try and make it a lot easier for the wingers to get involved. The centre forward is the absolute most vital player in this team. The centre forward is where the whole attack's going to be focused around. So obviously I've put my best player in there, Prime Eusebio. In a cheaper team, a 5-star week for like Ben Yedder would be good. In a bit more expensive team, Neymar's going to be great there. But obviously Eusebio is one of the very best players in the game. The wingers, you want players with good weak foots, can shoot, quick, so Mane and Neymar great. And Mbappe's not the typical like centre mid you'd want like an Iniesta role. But that was just what I had in my team. So for the centre mids, you want good passers, good dribblers, can defend a bit, but more players that are going to keep the ball moving. The CDM, I'd like someone a bit taller, just a bit more physical presence, like the Busquets from Barcelona. Apologies, I'm still a bit ill. But I've got a CDM who can destroy a bit, and then the flat back four, pace, physicality. Decent ball players is useful as well. At first, I tried possession. I had the possession tactic. I used that in the first game, but you'll see from the highlights I was really struggling to find much movement, so we adjusted it to balance. Possession should be what you use for Tiki Taka, but it just doesn't seem to work on FIFA. It just makes your attacking movement horrible. The instructions, come back on defense on the two wingers because it just helps you defend a bit better. Cut inside, get in behind, get into the box. That's how the Barca wingers tended to play. And I want more player-centric because that's where a lot of danger is on this game. One centre mid, the more attacking ones, so that's like the Iniesta role. Get forward. I want all of these on cover centre because the wingers are going to cover the wing. This is more balanced ones, so like the Xavi role, balanced, stay on edge of box, and then stay back, balanced on the CDM just to stop. Like I've got a lot of attacking players here, so I want someone to just anchor the team. And then this is a bit different. Balanced overlap on the fullbacks. You'll see in game how that plays out. But yeah, balanced overlap on the fullbacks to try and get some attacking width when the wingers cut inside and like create a free-flowing tactic. Do you guys, like, before you watch the rest of the video, do you think it will be viable? What formations would you like to see me do moving forward? But in the gameplay clips, I'll show you all the goals that I concede, that I score, and I'll talk to you about how I feel like the 4-3-3 false 9 plays out. And is it a great tactic on FIFA? Is it better than we expect? Is it worse? Is it usable? Is it weak and league ready? Let's get into the clips. So game 1 here is against a pretty solid meta team. Bit surprised he's put all his coins into Bruno Fernandes, to be honest, but every single player in that team is a pretty solid FIFA 21 player, to be honest. Maybe the biggest weak link is Zaha, but he's still pretty good. So let's get into the game. We're just going to show some general build up here. You obviously got to, in this formation, have a lot more men in the midfield. So you've got this like midfield triangle that are just going to pivot around this area of the pitch where you'd hopefully dominate possession. This is me using the possession tactic. And I'm not going to lie, it didn't surprise me, but I thought I can't really do this tactic formation without trying possession as a tactic. It was pretty useless. Like, the movement was awful. It was worse than I expected. And in the 4-3-3, because two of the players are centre mids, they just don't do anything. Look how far back they are. Like, they just don't get involved. So when you're defending, it feels like you only have one midfielder actually doing anything to help. So the 4-3-3 was really, false 9 was really disappointing in terms of that. It should be better than a 4-2-3-1 defensively because you've got 3 midfielders. Yes, you don't have 2 centre defensive mids, but you have 2 centre mids and a CDM. So you should be doing better. But on this game, the centre mids are literally useless. Literally useless at defending. So, yeah, it was quite weak in terms of that. One of the problems I was finding in this formation, especially before we changed to balance, was just that everything would go through, everything that I wanted to do, I wanted to go through the middle because I had a lot of men there. And the wingers went so wide that if you played anyone who didn't attack you and dropped back, there was just no options. Like, Eusebio was the only one, and the wingers rarely tucked in. They only seemed to tuck in when it didn't matter. My centre mids were getting involved, but if someone dropped back and just held the centre a lot, it was really hard to break them down. I think you can just watch here and see. There's just movements pretty static. And you kind of just rely, like here, this is my fault. I should have either passed first time or shot. That was one of the best moves I did, and I ended up making the mistake there. So that was pretty nice play. And that was the overlapping fullbacks and the power of it. But you'll probably agree from what you see, I'm not sure the overlapping fullbacks were actually worth what they were doing compared to how they hurt you defensively. Okay, the first goal we scored in the formation is coming up. It took 57 minutes, which is quite a long time. It was a scrappy goal, though, I'm not going to lie. Eusebio worked a bit of magic. One thing I did like was that this formation did get quite a lot of players going forward. You can see there we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty much all around the box. That is nice, but they all just seem so centralised. Like, the wingers, I had to lower the width to get them to do anything. And they don't seem to, like, when they're left wing and right wing, they don't seem to take fullbacks out of the game like a left mid and right mid do in the 4-2-3-1. Or 4-4-2, sorry, or the 4-2-3-1 with a Lam and a Ram. So it was quite disappointing to see that. One thing that I was struggling with as well was that this gap just seemed quite big because I didn't have the 2 CDMs to help me. And like, it was so easy for people to just get a quick goal because one through ball and my midfield not doing anything. This guy, I did dominate him for the most part. Like, obviously the tactical formation do play a big part, but the better player will tend to win. It's more you can just handicap yourself with a bad tactic formation or maybe make yourself even better with a top tactic formation. But yeah, I just felt really open. Got another goal coming up here. So again, just static in midfield. There was options at times. And like Eusebio dropping deep did help, but then there was no one really making the runs in behind. What I did like was the press after possession loss and how my team would win the ball back a lot. But I feel like it could just be something that would work in any tactic. Bridge dribble here. The winger did actually do something here, but it was more because I just forced him inside. Nice, easy goal. That game ended up finishing 2-1, so we'll go straight into the second game. This guy was a pretty tough opponent. One of the tougher matches that we actually played, to be honest. You'll notice how much I struggled here not having a pretty good meta formation. I didn't manage to get his team screened. I didn't have the recording going at that point, but he had a pretty meta Bundesliga team. Not as good as my team, but the guy's pretty decent. By the way, how crazy is that from kickoff that he just bullies me there? Don't cross it like that, by the way. It's not very viable. This was a nice one here where the fullback overlapped. Great ball by Bruno. Cancelo managed to just beat him there. We've got a bit of an overlap there, which causes some issues for him. I go back. It was good for keeping possession. But what I will say about keeping possession of this game, and why you can probably see we're already leaning towards me not liking the 4-3-3 that much, and not finding that viable, is that possession of this game isn't often that rewarded. When you're winning and dominating the game, it can be great, but a lot of the time it just leaves you static and not doing a lot. The option to go back to the CDM here, who was like behind the two centre mids, was always on, and that was very good. And it felt quite easy to recycle possession. That was one of the best things about this formation, and possibly the best formation I've used for just recycling the ball. But I don't want to, one, play boring, and two, it just felt like I was going backwards for the sake of it, and there was never any options going forward, to be honest. It felt like I had to create something myself and do something special just to score a goal. Here, nice quick turn by me. A little bit unlucky for him to concede the penalty, but I do think it probably was a foul. I think he went through Neymar's foot. You can see. Oh no, he skipped it. My penalty tactic here. I've powered it down the middle so he can't see my head movement. And I've aimed it right at the bottom corner. Unless he dives the right way, he obviously ain't saving that. We can see the goal here where I think I get pretty cheated by the game, to be honest. That there's a poor pass by me, not going to lie. That's my fault. So giving the ball away there cheaply was poor. But here, he does a back heel. I don't really know how Kyle Walker's not got that. It's just gone through Kyle Walker, and that's pretty perfect from him. Like, obviously, I don't have any issues with him scoring it after that. Like, it's an easy finish, but don't really know here. Like, that's obviously the big mistake, and the goal doesn't happen without that. But that should never go through me. And that's just the RNG and bad luck on this game. But look, soon as I lose it, there's just no defensive support there. Renato Sanchez just stops. And because of the balanced overlapping fullbacks that start to bomb forward, they're a bit out of position and don't really help me here. So that was something else. If I lost the ball for a bad mistake or they just pressed me, then my team just felt out of position in this. We get another goal coming up here. Some pretty nice build-up. Good shielding there with Mbappe. That was one of the things that I felt was an issue in this formation. That was a nice play by me there. The bridge dribble was great. But one of the issues I found with this formation was that it felt like, unless I was doing some great dribbling, it was a struggle to break someone down. And you can't rely on this game on being able to dribble every game. Because the problem is, in bad gameplay, dribbling almost goes out the window. So this formation really struggled because the wingers just don't get involved enough for me. Yes, you can counter down the wings with them a bit. And maybe this formation might have more uses as a long ball, sit deep, drop back tactic where you just play lots of width, counter with the wingers. That might be how this formation works. But I was trying to come up with a Tiki Taka Barca style of play, and it just didn't seem to work for me. This guy goes forward there from kickoff, and look how lucky he nearly gets. When someone does the La Criqueta there, after a dead stop fake, which a lot of people do, you need to just stand your ground, jockey, and sit back like that. That's how you defend that. Okay, we can see an equaliser here. I pulled Kyle Walker out, so that was a mistake by me. But again, the midfield just aren't doing a lot. They're so static, and it's so easy to just go bang, bang, bang through the midfield. And there, I was surprised that Figo scored from there, and Varane didn't manage to stop it. It's a great finish by him. But like I said, in this formation, the team just feels so open. Maybe it's the tactic, and maybe it's me not being used to it as much. But I just did not feel defensively secure at all. Okay, this was our third game, and probably the best team on paper that we played. This ended up being a pretty quick game, though, so you'll see why. But those red picks are pretty damn good, by the way, as well. Right, this one I'm not even going to have to, like, cut bits out. Just watch it live. So here's some nice dribbling there. The gameplay felt really good, to be honest. And like you see the overlapping fullbacks here. I did get to do a bit of like nice Tiki Taka play in this, to be honest. Nice dribbling with Eusebio. The running centre mid getting forward. On FIFA 18, I used to play the false nine quite a bit and really liked it. By the way, it annoys when people do that stupid kick-up thing. Like, just don't bother, mate. On FIFA 18, with centre mids getting forward, I really liked the 4-3-3 false nine. But it just felt awful on here. Here, you can see again my winger being a bit more central. He's kind of taken up Eusebio space. These through balls in behind are amazing. And in this game, this guy was just so open that you can see I was able to score him and they worked. But the problem is, most people are now just starting to drop back and make it hard to break them down. I think if this game was more open and people were playing with higher depth and pressing you more, then this tactic actually could be quite good. Because you can win the ball back with the press after possession loss and then counter them down the wings. But now more people are starting to play drop back, sitting deep to stop the pace of the through balls. The strengths of this formation are kind of getting a bit non-existent. Because, like, yeah, you can keep possession, but the problem is you can't break anyone down because there's not enough options centrally. Eusebio getting through here. Nice, easy finish. And you can see here, the opponent ends up rage quitting. And what was probably the hardest team we played ended up being the easiest game. I was going to only play 3 games, but because he quit so early, I thought we'll play a 4th game to try and get 3 fullish games. But there, we got to play some nice football, and it showed the potential of nice play you can do with that formation when people are a bit more open. But I'm not building a tactical formation for a really open game of FIFA, because that's not how most people play. That's not what you're going to use in Weekend League. Okay, 4th game, a very good team again. Pretty similar to the 3rd team in ability. Thought this could be a pretty tough game. So let's see what happens in this one. Okay, here we end up going 1-0 up for a pretty cheap goal, to be honest. Like, you can learn from this guy there. Don't take your goal kicks quick and really short because you'll end up conceding some stupid goals like that. And at the first 15 minutes, this was actually quite a tight game. It was a bit of a struggle to break him down. I don't think, like, I would like to put more replays, I guess, to show you more moments of the game. But it's easy for me to just talk about what I see in the games and show you some clips. Like I've shown you a mix of stuff. Because if I showed you all the proper clip stuff, this video would end up being an hour long. And I think people would just get annoyed at me. So, how was that not, like, a booking or anything, by the way? Like, I made a goal potentially there. You can see here, though, like, he's got so many men centrally. It just becomes hard to break down. And then people can counter you at pace. I felt like I was putting myself at a disadvantage by not having 2 CDMs, trying to attack, playing with overlapping fullbacks. I just felt stupidly open. He should have passed earlier there. But yeah, like I said, I felt like playing this tactic and style just put myself at a disadvantage that I didn't really need to be at. This was nice play. I liked that. That's what I want the wingers to do. And then the easy ball when you get around the keeper. You can play some good FIFA when people attack you and get open. And maybe, like, I use the 4-2-3-1. Second variation is my ultra defensive formation. Maybe the way to play this might be use it as an ultra defensive and it's a bit more attacking still than the 4-2-3-1. The only problem is the 2 centre mids aren't going to defend as well as the CDMs, but you could put them on stay back while attacking if you want to have more options with slightly further up the wingers. Got another goal coming up here. So get it out to the winger. Nice little bridge dribble. Turned quick there. He moved the keeper, but it's an insane finish from this Mane. That Mane is a great card. You can see here that my last 2 games are against people who just seem to be a lot more open. And this is still at 2,500 skill rating, but you do get a mixed bag of games. The opponents were a lot more open, and this formation tactic did shine there. But you just don't get that in Weekend League, so I can't really judge it properly off of that. We'll get to the last goal. So you can see the last goal we scored. The press after possession loss and lots of men centrally was good for winning the ball back. That is a crazy finesse from Mbappe. Let's watch that one more time. I do like to go for these. If I have a player with finesse shot, good shooting, if I'm like 25 to 30, well, edge of the box, 30 yards out max, ping it, try go for the opposite corner. It's a pretty crazy one. If you green them, they're even better. I don't think greening finesses is that hard. The guy ends up quitting, and that was our last game. Let's go back to my team screen to give a summary of the overall video, tactic, formations, what I think. Okay, so let's start with the things that I did like about this formation. Unfortunately, there's not a lot. I liked when people were open that you could play through balls down the wing quite well. There was lots of options going forward. You could get the through balls in behind Eusebio and the centre mids running forward. It was nice to have a bit of width from the overlapping fullbacks. But the problem with these things that I like there is that only really works against people, one, you're either a lot better than, or two, play really open. And that isn't a regular occurrence on FIFA, so you can't rely on that. And I can't really see it as a big plus of the formation, because that's not how the game plays most of the time. I liked the three-man midfield for keeping the ball. It meant keeping the ball was easier. Having the CGM as like the anchor man, who you could always go back to, was really good. That was a really nice little option. The only problem with it just felt a bit stale, and like if you recycle possession, which is good to do, it felt like when you would go forward, there wasn't enough options. You can do that in the 4-4-2 with the two CDMs fine, and then when you go forward, you've got two strikers who can play the ball between them. But the centre forward at times felt quite isolated. So there's not a lot that I can say I like about this formation. If I had to do ratings as we go along, maybe after a few weeks or months and we've got a few different videos, I might like rank all the formations and stuff up. I would have given the 4-2-2 like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. If like my favourite formation is the 4-4-2 second, and I'd give that a 10, the 4-2-2 would be like a 9, 9.5. And it had some things that made it better than the 4-4-2 second. Whereas this, there was barely anything at all that made it better than some of the other formations that are more meta on the game. This formation would probably be getting a 3 out of 10 for me. You can't play the possession style. You can't play Tiki Taka. You can't really replicate whatsoever a Barca style of play on this FIFA, it just seems. At least at a high level where people are just going to drop back. Things I didn't like. To get any like sort of extra options, you needed your fullbacks on attacking, but that meant you were just open. I do think maybe, like I say, this formation's got more use if you play drop back, and maybe I'm just using it wrong. But at the same time, it shouldn't be that I can't try play like Barca did under Pep, because it doesn't work on the game. That shouldn't be a thing, but you can't play the way you want on this game. Eusebio, the centre forward, felt isolated a lot. The wingers, even on cutting side free width, just felt a lot of the time they didn't get involved enough. The centre mids don't do anything. Like, it just felt very limited at times. And I would love to sit here and tell you this is the best possession tiki-taka style in the game. That is how I want to play FIFA. Not time wasting, but nice possession, smart possession, going forward, trying to break people down with creative passing and movement. It just doesn't feel for me like this works on this game. I'm not going to lie to you in these videos. I'm not going to try and just clickbait you and say, oh, this is the best every week. Like the 4-2-2, I genuinely really liked it. Whereas this, you could probably say I was just struggling to do anything with it. I felt like I was handicapping myself every game by using this formation. I used it every minute of every game. I didn't switch to another one. I wish I could like it, but yeah, for me, this isn't a great one. Let me know what you guys think. It's not even good enough for me to say give it a try if you want something a bit different, because I just think it's that bad that if you want to try a different playstyle based around possession and tiki-taka, even though you know it'll probably hurt you because it's not as good on this game, you can just do it better in the 4-2-3-1 or even the 4-4-2, which is sad, but yeah, this one wasn't for me. Appreciate you guys watching the video. What formation do you guys want me to do next week? Let me know your feedback, because I'm always trying to do content you guys want. Appreciate you. Have a great evening.